Shutterstock Music.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Black College Experience. I am one half of your Black College Experience team here in Baton Rouge, and we have in Atlanta, Georgia, the founder of Black College Experience, Keisha Kelly. What's going on, Kels?
Hi, how are you? And how is everybody else?
We're back after a week off. We weren't on last week. If you were listening for your Black College Experience alert, we were not on last week, but we're back this week after a week off to talk. The end of the football season is coming, and talk about basketball and just everything that's going on in the world of HBCU sports. I mean, it's a lot going on, even with football season getting ready to come to an end.
It is.
So, it's been a long season. My Delta Devils got a victory with our new coach. Your Jaguars, Kills, as we talked about our last show, finally got that Grambling Tiger off their back and advanced to the SWAC championship game to take on the Alcorn State Braves, your nemesis. And, we all know who won the game, unfortunately. Your Jaguars fell short to Alcorn. And let's see here. It was a good game. I mean, I enjoyed watching the game. I mean, I was wanting to go to the game, but I didn't get a chance to go. But unfortunately, your Jaguars fell just a little short, and Alcorn has now claimed another SWAC championship. And now we have to hear the Braves' battle cry as they head up to Atlanta to take on the North Carolina A&T Aggies in a rematch from the Tariq Bowl. I'm going to call that the Tariq Bowl because he's still running. In the NFL. But before we jump into everything else, we're going to preview this Celebration Bowl because it is the culmination of hard work for all of the teams in the SWAC and the MEAC. That's what this game is for. A couple of days ago, I saw someone ask a question wondering why the SWAC and the MEAC don't participate in the playoffs. Why is this bowl game so important? And a lot of people have been posting on social media that, the crowds at the playoff games aren't packed. The SWAC championship game was packed on the campus of Alcorn State University, a historic event on the campus of this storied HBCU. Can't believe I'm saying that. But the fan support is just not there for us to participate in the playoffs. With the Celebration Bowl, this is focused on HBCUs. When we go to the playoffs, we're not focused on. We don't even win I don't even know our record in playoff games. It's not good per se for HBCUs in the FCS playoffs. But the Celebration Bowl, shines the spotlight directly on the SWAC and the MEAC, and we deserve that. I know you believe we deserve it, right?
Absolutely. It's a situation where, in that first week that first year, you're looking at almost 36,000 people that attended the inaugural Celebration Bowl, and so coming from that and seeing how great it was and how many people traveled, even though Alcorn didn't win, they had so many fans to show up and so many people to come out. So, just hoping we can get back to those first numbers and get people out. And we know it matters who's playing in those games as to, how the crowd base shows up and who supports. And so we're just at a point being here in Atlanta, our thing is, my two things is one, your marketing is your key. Your marketing is key to everything that you do when you're doing stuff like this. We're HBCU based. So of course your marketing needs to come from your HBCU media hubs because we're the people that care about it. We are the people that are actually going to support it. We're the people that's going to put it in front of mainstream. We're the people that's going to talk about it and get the buzz going with our different HBCU media hubs. And then the second thing is just simply we have to support, whether your team is in it or not. My thing is because I'm in Atlanta, I'm going to continue to support. This will be, since inception, this will be my fourth Celebration Bowl.
Yeah.
So every Celebration Bowl that comes, I will be. I was there for I was there for A&T and Alcorn. I was there for Grambling and Central. I was there for Grambling and A&T, and of course Saturday, God's willing, I'll be there for A&T and Alcorn. So, it's a road that we travel every and again. It's not my school, but of course I'm still there to support it because at the end of the day, it's still HBCU, and what we're looking for numbers, we're looking for ratings, and we can't keep this type of bowl game around if we don't support it.
Exactly. And now on to previewing the game, because these are two teams who have been dominant in their conferences. First up, out of the MEAC, the MEAC champion, North Carolina A&T, sitting at 9-2, coached by my alum, Coach Williams. I'm glad that he has done very well stepping in for Coach Broadway. Now, to talk about North Carolina A&T, they have two losses to Morgan State and FAMU, who everyone thought was going to potentially be the MEAC champ this year because of their performances this year, but they faltered down the end of the season, and the Aggies claimed another MEAC championship. They have a notable win against FBS level East Carolina, and they also have a FCS victory over Jacksonville State, which when those two victories happened, Kels, everyone just figured that North Carolina A&T was going to be undefeated. I know I did. I didn't see anybody in their conference beating them. But unfortunately, they suffered those two losses that I talked about before. They are led by quarterback Lamar Raynard. He has 1,373 yards passing, 16 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. Raynard has 4 different receivers who have at least 200 receiving yards, but they are led by Zachary Leslie. He is the deep threat. 40 receptions for 512 yards and 8 touchdowns. On the ground, Markel Cartwright. He's not quite as elusive as Tariq Cohen. He's more of a power runner, but he does have the ability to take it the distance. He's the team's leading rusher with 1,002 yards and 7 touchdowns. They are ranked 43rd in rushing at the FCS level. On defense, the Aggies allowed 13.5 points a game, Kel, which is good enough to rank 5th in the FCS. They have the best rush defense, allowing only 72.6 rushing yards a game. They have a junior defensive lineman, Darrell Johnson. He has 10.5 sacks on the year, which makes him a very, very dangerous pass rusher. Now, on to our home conference, the Alcorn State Braves, sitting at 9-3. Of course, we talked about them defeating the Jaguars to advance to this game. The Braves have 3 losses this season, but 2 of those losses came against Georgia Tech and New Mexico. They had a rare SWAC East loss. I think that was to Alabama State in overtime, I think. Right, Kels?
Correct.
Right. And we have my line brother, Patrick Perrin, along. What's going on, PP?
Not much.
All right. So to continue my preview of Alcorn, now Alcorn has a high-scoring offense, but they're very one-dimensional on offense. They have an offense that averages 33.5 points a game, but they don't throw the ball very well. They only average 129 yards through the air, but their rushing attack averages almost 300, 282 yards to be exact, and that's ranked for 3rd in the FCS. The rushing attack is led by Noah Johnson, who's thrown for 2,079 yards with 15 touchdowns, but 8 interceptions. He completes a high percentage, 64%. 4 of his receivers have over 200 yards receiving. Raydarius Anderson, Chris Blur, Dale Harris are the leading receivers. Anderson has led the team with 502 yards and 3 touchdown catches. On the ground, though, is where Alcorn earns its money. This is dangerous because, as the Jaguars found out last week, the Alcorn ground game is hard to stop. They are 2 1,000-yard rushers. A running back, Deshaun Water, with 1,067 yards and 12 touchdowns. Johnson also adds to the rushing attack with 1,006 yards and 9 touchdowns. But you can't forget P.J. Williams, who was on the Walter Payton preseason award list, but an injury hampered his season. He's dangerous as well. So Alcorn has a three-headed monster back there. Alcorn sports the 19th best scoring defense in the division, allowing just 21.3 points per game. They have the 5th best rush defense. They're allowing 193 passing yards per game. Defensive lineman Trey Whittingham and Sterling Shipper lead the team in sacks with 9 and 8 respectively. Here's what I think the key to this game is going to be. Alcorn's rushing attack versus A&T's tough run defense. Who's going to crack? That's where I think this game will be won between the Alcorn rushing attack and North Carolina A&T's stout run D. Kels, what do you think about this Celebration Bowl?
Well, it's a couple of things that we actually, and just listening to you, it's a couple of things that, you talk about the three-headed monster in the back, and again, I say it's going to be a lot going on because if we go back, let's go back to Southern last week, and you talk about the run. We couldn't contain it. That was one of the things that Coach Odom talked to the Jaguars about the whole week. Stop the run. You got to stop the run. And as proven, the Jaguars were unable to stop the run. So there's a lot of speed here with this team in particular, but I think that, A&T will be able to, might be the only team that will be able to keep up with the speed of Alcorn, and will actually be able to do the same things and be able to. So I'm, as far as the run, I'm thinking that they will be able to do so. The way Alcorn is going to have to win the game is with his arm. That's the way they're going to have to win the game, is with his arm, in my opinion.
Okay. So you feel like the Aggies are going to stack the line against the Braves and say, we're going to make Noah Johnson beat us with his arm?
I think in my honest opinion, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. And I think that's exactly what's going to happen. It's not going to be easy for either side. It's not just going to be, I think it's going to be contained because each team has definitely watched one another,
exactly.
The last couple of weeks. So I think it's the case where, again, it's going to be one against the other.
Right. PP, let's have your opinion on this Celebration Bowl. Alcorn State versus North Carolina.
And then I'll go back.
Oh, go ahead.
I'll go back because no, I'll go back. It's fine. It's one other thing I want to add, but no, go ahead.
Go ahead, PP.
I think it's, even if A&T's run defense stop or contain Waller and Simmons, the one thing that you can hardly anybody ever will account for in a defense will be a running quarterback, and that's where John's gonna come in at. Now, even if they put a spot on him and keep him contained, I think that the difference is gonna be he's not like I said, he doesn't pass for a lot of yards, but he has a good completion percentage. He's more likely to get the ball where it needs to go than Raynard. I guess that's who started.
So Alcorn's passing attack, in your opinion, is more dangerous. It's more dangerous than their averages show. That's what you're saying?
Yeah.
Because he competes.
Even if it's not for, how most people say if you got a passing attack, you got to at least try to run in order to keep the defense honest.
Exactly.
That's what Alcorn going to have to do against A&T. They got to pass in order to keep them honest. Because if they do that, then they'll probably win.
Well, here's the thing: if Alcorn wants to watch film on how to stagnate the North Carolina A&T offense, they have one film to go and look at: the Morgan State film, because Morgan State is not a strong team in the MEAC. When this game ended, it was a upset. I mean, a tremendous upset. I know I called it that because Morgan State, has been swapping coaches, swapping quarterbacks. They're not a
okay. So
team.
It was 16-21 or 16-12, right? That's like Derek. You calling that an upset? 4 points. That's not a major upset.
Yes,
it's not.
Morgan State only,
it's not.
Morgan State only won like 2 games this year. Or something like that. They didn't win a lot of games.
Anytime a team as weak as Morgan State defeats a team as strong as North Carolina A&T, that's an upset. I mean, because on paper, North Carolina A&T beats them. On the field, 9 times out of 10 times, North Carolina A&T beats Morgan State. That's that one time, like on Little Giants, one time that Morgan State is able to slay the beast in North Carolina A&T. I don't think FAMU can beat North Carolina A&T twice in one season.
They could. I don't know.
Well, I know FAMU is a stronger team than Morgan State. But if Alcorn wants to see film on how to stagnate North Carolina A&T, that's a film for them to watch, to me, in my opinion. Because Alcorn has way more talent than Morgan State. And I know every game is different. And no one game is going to be played exactly the same because you have to execute. The level of execution is going to determine who wins this game. But go ahead, Kels. You have one more thing to add before we predict our winners?
I forgot what I was about to say.
Not bad. Well, we're down to the nitty-gritty now. We're gonna take our predictions on who we think will be the Celebration Bowl champion and crown the Black College National Champion. And we're going to be gentlemen, and we're going to let Kels go first.
No, go ahead. You go first. I'm still trying to think of what I was going to say.
Okay,
I'm still trying to think of what I was going to say.
I picked, I'm trying to think, who did I pick to win the SWAC? I think I picked Alcorn to win the SWAC championship game. I had to go back and look at my picks. But looking at this game, this is going to be a very, 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 very close game. And I do agree with you, LB. I think Alcorn is going to have to throw the ball in order to keep North Carolina A&T honest. Noah Johnson is going to have to complete passes for first downs to keep the trains moving. All while Alcorn is still going to run the ball with that 3-headed monster with P.J. Williams, Deshaun Waller, and, of course, Noah Johnson at the quarterback position. And you also have to look out for Alcorn's backup quarterback. I can't remember his name, but he did come in and, complete a pass or two. So, that's why I thought Kels had reminded me that Noah Johnson was a junior because I was thinking he's gone. That's why I'm thinking of letting that young guy play. But he'll be back to terrorize the SWAC.
Yeah, he got one more year.
I'm going to choose the Alcorn State Braves to beat North Carolina A&T and become the Black College National Champion. I know it's going to happen if they do win. The Alcorn fans in our social media groups will never, ever be quiet. Even if they lose, they won't ever be quiet. So I'm going to pick Alcorn to win. PP?
Yeah, I think Alcorn is going to win because I think Alcorn is capable of scoring more points than A&T. Alcorn's defense is basically a MEAC defense as well, so they can contain. Well, Raynard is not as. What is it? He's not a.
Well, the young backup quarterback for North Carolina A&T is good too. Now he can hurt you.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's what I'm saying. That he's not as mobile as the backup quarterback. So if Raynard, they can contain Cartwright because, like I said, that's their main battering ram. I think they're going to contain. I think they can contain him. I think Alcorn is going to make more big plays than A&T, so I think it's going to be close. It's not going to be no more than a touchdown win, but I'm going to pick Alcorn.
Okay. Diva Kels?
And then, of course, I'm going against the grain. I'm going to take North Carolina A&T. And this comes not just, watching from once, but, Alcorn's defense will keep Alcorn in the game. But A&T will be the first team, in my opinion, that will physically be able to match them with speed from an HBCU. So Alcorn's speed on offense won't overwhelm A&T. And I don't believe they're going to rush for over 300 yards and all this that they've been doing on these other teams. I just don't see that happening like it's been doing with other SWAC teams. So, again, no one will have to do it in the air, and I'm going to take A&T to win Celebration Bowl.
All right. So it's 2-1 Alcorn, and we'll get the rest of our preview from our panel. But before we move on to other news within the other conferences, Kels, there was an award ceremony where we had some HBCU legends honored, and I know you.
Hold on, let's go ahead. Let's take a commercial break before we go into it.
Okay. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with more Black College Experience.
I already knew that I was going to go to college, from a young age. I definitely want to major in political science. After that, I'm going to get my law degree. Then I'm going to come back to Detroit, boost the economy, become the mayor or something, try to make the situation better for other people. I feel like I owe it to the city. I'm determined. It's going to happen. My name is Justin, and I am your dividend.
All right, we're back with more Black College Experience, and we're going to talk about the awards ceremony where we have some HBCU legends and also future HBCU legends, professional football legends that were honored with the NC Football Awards, Contributions Award during the Home Depot College Football Awards. Kels, take it away.
It was, now for anybody that did not see it, it was on Thursday. It was a great show. I guess, you'll have to go back if you didn't see if there's a replay on it. It was a case where they're talking about, one part of the segment was the HBCU football impact. And, of course, this was the ESPN College Football Awards here in Atlanta. They did talk about, you had Coach Hayes there. You had, slipping my mind, you had Marino Kasem there. You had 3 other coaches. For some reason, Coach Broadway was there. So what's happening? They're honoring 5 different coaches, and they're talking about the legends and the things that they've done while they were, coaching. Coach Jeffries was there. So they talk about, Archie Cooley was there.
Archie the Gunslinger Cooley.
They talk about the different things that, the different things that they did. And I think the most memorable part is when Coach Hayes talks about, Tariq Cohen, and he talks about, how many athletes he had going to the league and how, the impact of HBCU sports and how it's important. And then they ask him, when you hear compliments and comments from athletes, he says, there's nothing like it. Nothing can change. It's like the best feeling in the world. So a lot of times people just don't know, how important it is, and what an impact it has, on us, coming from HBCUs. And so it's such an important thing. But to see them honor, we said it was long overdue. It was one of those things that they needed to get done a long time ago. And I think it was one of the best things. I said, if Eddie Robinson was still alive, then it would have been a case. We know Eddie Robinson would have been there and been honored as well. But I think it was long overdue. And just to see more and more of this happening where they're honoring HBCUs, we're getting the football lights, we're getting the E60s, we're getting these type of things. It's just a great feeling. It's a great thing because this is things that we want. We want the exposure. And it's the story that people don't take.
Right. And just to run down the list, Coach Rob Broadway. Most recently, Broadway was the head coach at North Carolina A&T before retiring. He is the only coach to win a Black College National Championship at 3 different schools: North Carolina A&T, Grambling State, North Carolina Central. Marino Kasem, known as the Godfather. Kasem won 7 SWAC championships as the head coach at Alcorn State. He is a 4-time Black College National Champion, 68, 69, 74, and 84. And was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2003. Archie the Gunslinger Cooley served as the head football coach at The Valley, University of Arkansas Pine Bluff, Norfolk State, and Paul Quinn College. He was inducted into the SWAC Hall of Fame in 2007. Bill Hayes is the winningest coach ever at both Winston-Salem State and North Carolina A&T. compiling nearly 200 wins over 27 seasons and winning the Black College National Championship in 1990 and 1999. He was named the 1997 National Small College Coach of the Year and inducted into the North Carolina Sports Hall of Fame in 2018. Willie Jeffrey served as the head football coach at South Carolina State, 1943 to 1978, 1989 to 01, Wichita State, 1973 to 83, and Howard University, 1984 to 1988. His tenure at Wichita State made Jeffrey the first African-American head coach of a Division 1A program at a predominantly white school. He led 3 South Carolina State teams to Black College National Championships, 1977, 76, 94, and was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame in 2010. Just a legacy of HBCU greatness, Kels. Way overdue to be honored, but what needs to happen, this needs to continue to happen. The College Football Awards need to continue to honor and recognize the legacy that HBCUs present in the college football world.
Absolutely. Again, like I said, if we don't tell our stories, then who will? And it's one of those things where we have to continue to shed light. And I don't take anything from any athlete, from any athlete that has come before us. But there are some athletes that could do more to shed more light on their universities. And that's one of the things, again, listening to Tariq and talking to him the other day, one of the things he said was, the only person that gave me a scholarship was North Carolina A&T. They gave me my only scholarship.
Right.
Now, word is Coach Broadway was overlooking him because of his size. And so, he was the only one. And if he didn't go to play for North Carolina A&T, he was actually going to enlist in the Navy. So now you think about the Navy and you think about where he is now. He was actually going to go a different route. And it's like I said, it's a situation now where, we continue to recycle and we continue to put these guys out there, and you have so many people that, we go sometimes as drafted, sometimes as undrafted free agents. However we get there, we're still on the same playing field. But again, we have to continue to tell the story.
I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. And I just wonder, since he was going to the Navy, I wonder if he would have thought about attending the Naval Academy, because we know the Naval Academy, they have a history of allowing undersized running backs to play football. But I'm glad that he went to North Carolina A&T, blazed a trail that blazed him on to the NFL. And I'm hoping that the Bears will start to feature him more in the running game. I know he's a very, very featured threat in the passing attack. He's going to be on TV tonight playing Sunday Night Football. And he's a very important part of special teams. So I know I'm glad and very proud of Tariq Cohen for continuing to blaze his trail in the NFL and representing HBCUs, because we need more like him. Maybe the next one is going to be Deshaun Waller, or maybe it's going to be Cartwright or someone from an HBCU. I'm actually hoping it could potentially be my favorite player, Amir Hall. He gets a chance to show what he can do on the next level. So all these young men need is a chance. And I'm thankful for these HBCU legends to give these young men chances for the past, present, and also the future. Can't wait to see how HBCU football continues to grow, because now we have the Celebration Bowl. So it's only going to continue to grow as our athletes show that they deserve a chance to showcase their skills at the biggest stage, which is professional football. Now, we have had some coach movement, Kels. We had some coaches resign. We had some coaches fired. We had some coaches hired. One coach that shocked everybody was our frat brother, LB, Mike London, who resigned from Howard and took the head coach position, I think, at William & Mary, right, Kels?
Correct. That's correct.
And he has a history at William & Mary.
Right.
So that left the Howard head coaching position open, which it has been filled by a man that also has FBS head coaching experience. So Howard has once again dipped their hand in the FBS cookie jar and hired Ron Prince, a former Kansas State coach. He's an offensive analyst at Michigan right now. Well, he's not a head coach of Howard, but he was an offensive analyst at Michigan this past season. He has been tapped to be the new head coach at Howard. So we know he has a weapon in Kalen Newton, who was the MEAC Offensive Player of the Year. So what do y'all think about this hire? Do what y'all think about Ron Prince being plucked again from the lands of FBS? Or do you think Howard could have potentially chosen someone from the HBCU ranks to be the next head coach?
Well, I'll say, with London leaving, that was kind of a shocker. I expected him to be there longer. I also expected him to do more with that, and I say do more with that because of the fact of what they did last year when they beat UNLV, and they had some tough games that they end up getting through. And I was just very curious to see how he would it would work out with him and Kalen Newton, how he would actually groom him as a quarterback. But I really didn't expect that to happen so fast. But he's going back home, back to a place that he's comfortable with, a place that he came from. And so, I guess that's, you're going back to your summer grounds, that's fine. But I just didn't expect it to happen that soon.
Exactly. And I'm thinking, PP, we have someone on that staff that I would have loved to have seen selected to run that team as the head coach, and that's Vincent the Undertaker Brown, a Delta Devil alum and a former star NFL player. If you haven't seen his commercial, Google it. Google Vincent the Undertaker Brown and see his commercial. I would have loved to have seen him promoted to the head coaching position. But now we're going to see where Coach Brown ends up, if he's going to follow Coach London to William & Mary, or will Coach Brown try to, land him a head coaching gig somewhere. He's definitely qualified to be a head coach at some school. I would love to see him eventually maybe come back to Valley because he's a Delta Devil legend, but we have a new head coach. What do you think about Prince getting hired by Howard, LB?
He did work at Alabama A&M, so he has worked there a couple.
He was the offensive line coach at Alabama A&M. He was also at South Carolina State, but it doesn't say what his position was back in the early 90s. Yeah. So Prince does have some HBCU ties.
Yeah, I get on. If that's the route they want to go, I don't know. It's a wait and see. We saw what happened with Haywood and Texas Southern. FBS ties doesn't necessarily always translate over to
success on the field.
Winning. Yeah. With going to Brown, he was the associate head coach, so I thought, they might have given him a chance. Gave him at least a serious look at it, giving him opportunity, at least at the interim, and, to see what he would have done with a year or so, but,
Exactly.
They saw it.
Right. So, jumping back in our home conference, we know after a blowout loss to Kel's Jaguars, Jackson State University fired Coach Tony Hughes, and then installed Coach John Hendrick as the interim head coach. Hendrick was one win away from taking the Tigers to the SWAC championship, losing the Soul Bowl to Alcorn. And I just knew our Delta Devil alum and my homeboy was going to make a big splash and hire a hot name in coaching to come in and revive Jackson State. But I guess since I'm not an AD, Ashley knows best. He promoted Coach John Hendrick to the permanent position of head coach. Coach Hendrick has head coaching experience before. He built the Benedict program. He's coached in every HBCU conference. He has a wealth of experience, and he did light a spark under this Jackson State Tiger football program. Like I said, almost winning the SWAC East title, which would have set a rematch up with Southern. I would have loved to have seen that rematch. But Kels, what do you think about Jackson State hiring Coach Hendrick as his permanent head football coach?
I had to ask you, did they hire somebody? Because I had saw stuff, and I did the same thing. You know, I think we were all anticipating it. It was like, okay, are we going outside? Are we going to look elsewhere? And that's the thing. And sometimes we look inside when we should look outside, and sometimes we look outside when we should look inside. But, I mean, you know, I guess if it works for them. But, again, I was really looking for something else. I think that was an anticipation only for it to get to that point, and you're like, oh, okay, that's what you did. Yeah, it wasn't what I was thinking.
Exactly. PP, what do you think about this hire?
I'm from some of the other forums that I was in. It actually wasn't that shocking because he did build a defense, and that defense, we know, was stout, you know. So for him to be able to, he just said he made a couple of little simple tweaks, and you see how they took off. So I guess they figured, hey, we might as well go with safe and go with Hendricks, because all they really need is a capable offensive coordinator. They've been needing one of those for about 5 years. But
for a while, they've been needing an offensive coordinator since Comedy left.
Yeah, I said that for about 5 years. They've been needing that's the only thing they really need. They'll definitely be in the hunt next year as far as being competitive if they just get a offensive coordinator and a quarterback.
Right, because we know Coach Hughes recruited well. That was his strong point. We know he was going to infuse the program with talent. He just didn't get the return fast enough to be able to keep his job. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping Jackson State beats everybody in SWAC but us. You know, I want them to lose to us, of course. But Jackson State is my hometown team. I do want them to do well. But we'll see how Coach Henry does as he takes over the Tiger football program. Now, another SWAC school that made a coaching change, and there was some drama behind it, was Texas Southern either fired or Mike Haywood resigned. I guess whoever you feel to believe, either he resigned or he was fired. But now Texas Southern has a brand new head coach, and his name is Clarence McKinney. He was the running backs coach at Arizona, and he comes to Houston to coach Texas Southern. Kels, what do you think about this hire?
Not really. I didn't hear the buzz. I didn't hear anything too much behind it. I didn't hear anything. I don't know anything about him, so you'll have to tell me because I don't really know much about him.
He was a successful high school football coach at Jack Yates High School, returned in Houston. Then he joined Coach Kevin Sumner's staff at the University of Houston in 2008. He also coached running back for 4 seasons under Coach Sumner at the University of Houston. And he joined Sumner's staff also at Texas A&M, was the running backs coach there. And we know what Texas A&M did offensively. And then he followed Sumner to Arizona after Sumner was fired. He served as the Aggies offensive coordinator and play caller for the 2013 Cotton Bowl and 2013 regular season. So Texas Southern had problems scoring points. If this man is able to, I guess you could say, bring the Johnny football offense to Texas Southern, which is what Kevin Sumner had at Texas A&M, that high-powered offense that we saw Johnny Manziel win the Heisman with, I think he's going to be successful because, you know, he's already gotten commits. His first day on the job, and he got 3 commits. So he's known as a very, very strong recruiter, and he's from the area, so he's going to help infuse talent into that Texas Southern program. I think it's a good hire, good young head coach coming back to build up a SWAC team that was badly in need of an infusion of talent. And like PP said, Coach Mike Haywood, just because you had said he won at Miami of Ohio. And it just didn't work out for him at Texas Southern. So, PP, what do you think about this hire?
Yeah, I think I guess he said the strong, he's like, he was Lawman basically his right-hand man. Mm-hmm. And like Hughes, he basically has connects in Texas. So the thing is, can he get the right talent from Texas to Texas Southern? That's going to be his biggest thing. But he's like I said, he's known as an offensive person. So that's what Texas Southern has needed badly for years. So we'll see what he can do as far as bringing the right talent off in there and installing a winning culture there.
Right.
Because they've been down for a while.
A good while. Now, our last two coaching moves, and this team, while they're still a member of the MEAC, will be moving down to Division II, joining the SEAC, Savannah State. They have released their football coach, director of athletics, OPO Mashaka, announced on Friday that Eric Rayburn was relieved of his duties effective immediately. He was the head coach for 3 seasons, and they're going to start off with a national coaching search to help rebuild the program as they start anew in the SEAC. So, I hate to see Savannah State go down to the SEAC, but they're still a HBCU brother. So, I'm hoping that they'll be able to, hire a good head coach. Perhaps Coach Vincent Brown may be a candidate. I would love to see him get his a chance to lead a team. Kayla, what do you think about this coaching move here? And Savannah State joining the SEAC.
That is something. The funny thing is that I do 2 people that's in my office graduated from Savannah State, and they had some issue. Well, one of the guy had an issue with, because people are saying they really don't understand the purpose of the move, and then they're saying you're still going to lose. So I'm like, well, if you're losing in the MEAC, I don't think moving to the SEAC is going to hurt you by moving. So, different conferences, different coaches, different things. So I think, in my honest opinion, I think moving to the SEAC was a better thing. That's just my opinion.
Right. And we've been hearing that for years, that our Delta Devils should move down to Division II.
Well, I don't think so. I don't think that. No, I don't think y'all should move. No, I don't. It's. I think it's a culture with our conference. You have 10 teams, and it is what it is. But I don't care how many games a team loses. I just can't. I can't see myself looking up one day and Mississippi Valley is over in another conference. I just couldn't see that. Couldn't see that.
Well, I would.
Wouldn't even make sense.
I agree with you. And me and people, we've had this disagreement, and we'll have to talk about this on another show on how struggling football programs can, I guess, turn things around. And PP feels like we should get a new scoreboard. I feel like we should wait. So we're going to have to talk about that story another day as we examine other struggling football programs and things they could potentially do to turn things around and compete in their conferences. Now, the last coaching move was a bit of a shocker because this guy is a legendary coach. He's won everywhere he's been. He won at this school, but he was released this year. And that is former Kentucky State coach John L. Smith. His contract was for 2 years in 2016, and he's reached the end of his contract, so it wasn't renewed. So he's no longer the head coach at Kentucky State. So the Thoroughbreds will be looking to hire a new head coach. And, this comes after Smith almost won a SEAC championship at Kentucky State. And when I saw the name John L. Smith, I was like, I know that name. He was the coach at Louisville, took Louisville to a lot of bowls. So maybe his coaching prowess has passed him by. Who knows? Maybe he may end up somewhere else. But Kentucky State decided to move forward from him. And I can't wait to see who these teams hire as their head coaches, because it's going to be someone that's going to get a chance to either reboot their career or start their career as a head coach. And that's the beauty of head coaching.
As far as Kentucky State, did they say why they were releasing, or did they just not renew the contract?
It just said that he's no longer the head coach. His contract stated, it says, in accordance with his 2016 contract, Kentucky State University Board of Regents approved contract, they have parted ways.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So Looks like they just wanted to make a change. And I mean,
Mm.
football programs, they do that. I mean, they hire a coach for a couple
Right.
of years, and they feel like, well, we want to go in a different direction. I mean, Jackson State fired Comedy, and he was a winning coach, but we know that was more based,
Right.
that wasn't just based off football performance. McNeese did the same thing, firing their coach, and he had a winning record. So sometimes athletic directors just want to go in a different direction.
Right.
So
Right.
we got about 11 minutes left in the show. Want to talk about some other conference news. Let's see what we got here.
Well,
Go ahead.
well,
Kelly.
while you're trying to figure out what conference news you want to touch, this weekend, very sad situation with my Jazz. The whole Southern University is actually mourning the death of
Yes.
former Jaguar and NFL legend Isaiah Butch Robertson. He died Thursday night in a car accident.
Wow.
And of course, this was in Texas. And the crazy thing is that you always go back and you look and you start thinking about what if. And the funny thing is like I was having this conversation. I said a year ago on August 18th, which is my dad's birthday, I was having this same conversation saying how I wanted to interview him, and somebody had tagged him on Facebook. He's one of my friends. Somebody had tagged him on Facebook like, okay, y'all can make the connection. The crazy thing is that I never reached out to him. I never talked to him. And so it's one of those situations like, okay, what if? But it's a lot of people mourning the death of him. The funeral's coming up this weekend, but it is. It's just a sad situation.
Right.
Very sad situation.
And he has helped a lot of youth. The name of his foundation is escaping me, but I watched the news and they talked about that he had a foundation where he helped a lot of young people. And that's what you want from your legends, from your HBCU legends, your community legends, and for him to pass away so suddenly in that car wreck, I mean, it's just so sad. And, I wish we could have got a chance to talk with him, but in memory of him, we can definitely discuss his career and talk about the things that he did on the football field, playing for the Rams, helping the Rams have an awesome defense, and helping your Jaguars, blazing a trail for HBCUs by coming from an HBCU and showing this. That was the heyday of HBCU. That's when HBCU players were really, really given opportunities in the league. They still had to prove themselves, but they proved themselves and they outperformed peers that played in the higher division of college football. So, and he will be dead. His name was Isaiah. Let me make sure I get it right, Kels. Isaiah Robertson.
That's right. Butch, okay. That's his name. Yeah, that's it. Mm-hmm.
All right. So, next week we're going to have a special guest on Black College Experience, and I want to talk some GCAC basketball since we're going to talk about this guest. Growing up in Jackson, Mississippi, you heard about the name Thomas Billups. He was a legendary basketball coach for the Lanier Bulldogs. Coached legends like Monte Ellis, Darius Rice, to numerous state championships. James Thomas, a lot of potential NBA players. After he left Lanier, he transitioned to be the head basketball coach at an HBCU, Tougaloo College, not far from my mom's house. And I reached out to Coach Billups, and he agreed to come on and talk about his legendary high school career and what he's doing over at Tougaloo. And just to talk about what he's doing over at Tougaloo, I have some stats here. Let's see here. And we can talk about how the GCAC is doing. In the GCAC and men's basketball, Talladega sits at 11-3. Tougaloo College sits at 9-2. Dillard sits at 7-4. Xavier at 5-5. Ed Waters at 4-5. Suno at 5-8. PSC at 1-10, and Russ College, another Mississippi HBCU, is at 0-7. So, and that's Philander Smith College, PSC, in Arkansas. So, just to talk about some of the scores over in the GCAC in basketball, just to run down this on yesterday. Stillman defeated Russ 87-71. Florida National University lost to Edward Waters 81-85 on the men's side. In women, you had University of Pikeville defeating Talladega, Russ defeating Stillman, Loyola defeating Dillard, Edward Waters defeating Florida National University, and Talladega edging Shawnee State 84-80. I have some women's stats here as well, because Kels, you know, I'm a women's basketball groupie, so I gotta talk about my women's sports. All right, on the women's side, Russ sits at undefeated. Talladega is at 12-2, Xavier at 9-3, Dillard at 8-4, Edward Waters at 9-5, Philander Smith at 7-4, Tougaloo at 2-2, and Suno at 4-9. So, you know, the GCAC is a conference that we have been talking more about. We had our commissioner on a few weeks ago, and Kels, you got a well wish from the commissioner of the GCAC a few days ago. Talk about that and what he said.
You know, it was just a conversation because, you know, we get a little excited on Twitter. So what he said was, you know, he did congratulate us on the hard work that we're doing. And he said that he's looking forward to the upcoming year to see where we will be going, in 2019, which is a major thing, because anytime you get that kind of, congratulations and that kind of thing from a commissioner, that's major. That's a big thing. So, exactly. It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
So we're down two commissioners. We've had Dr. McClellan. We've had the GCAC commissioner. Now we need to get Dr. Thomas and the MEAC, and we need to get the commissioner of the CIAA and the commissioner of the SEAC, and that way, if we have all five commissioners, I mean, with them knowing that Black College Experience is on the scene, and I think that'll be great for us, for everyone to recognize that we are a player in the HBCU sports media market, and we're growing. And we're here to stay because we ain't going nowhere. I know I ain't going nowhere. What about you?
Right. I mean, we're here, and again, even at Bayou Classic, I got a chance to actually meet the commissioner there. So I got a chance to meet Dr. McClellan there face to face, and I think it was a case. I just walked up to Travion Scott, and they were talking, and I was like, hey, and so he was like, this is Keisha, and he introduces, and I was like, well, Dr. McClellan, we interviewed you on Black College Experience. He was like, oh, yeah. So I was like, now you can see a face with the voice. I was like, I'm little, but the face goes with the voice. Yeah. I was like, I know I'm really small, but I was like, I just want to introduce myself. And, it's just, those cases in that situation, that was just like the first time, but I did want to go ahead. And it's so funny because, remember, we talked to Commissioner Brown about meeting him in New Orleans. When I got to New Orleans, I completely forgot. So, right.
So, but the end of the show, I want to talk about Amir Hall. Amir Hall has earned some awards. He adds to his haul. He has been named CCAC All Super Region 2 second team. And he's also been named a finalist for the Harlan Hill Trophy. And we still know he's up for the Black College National Player of the Year award, which I feel he's going to win. So Amir Hall is going to – I hope he has a big trophy case. If not, he's going to need to invest in one, because this young man has been winning awards for the past 2 years. I mean, it's just amazing what he's done on the football field. Also, the name Chris Canty. Kels, do you know who that is?
I don't.
Well, Chris Canty is a former football player. He operates the Chris Canty Foundation, and his father is a graduate of an HBCU, Claflin University. So in the name of his father, Chris Canty has donated $10,000 to Claflin University Athletics. It says, amid the celebration of Claflin University's 149th homecoming, November 17, 2018, the Chris Canty Foundation has donated $10,000 to the Panther Total Package Leadership and Development. The check presentation was part of the men's basketball homecoming halftime activities. Presenting the check on behalf of his son, former NFL player, was Claflin University Athletics Hall of Famer Joseph Canty. So, you have sons of HBCU graduates who have, obtained wealth and attained status, giving back to their parents' HBCUs. That's a great thing, Kels. What do you think about that?
I agree. We had a conversation. We were talking about, how many different athletes come through the ranks and how different things happen, and just channeling back into the NFL. It's so funny because talking about the New Orleans Saints today, someone was like, "Oh, I didn't know such and such." So this guy, Michael Ora, plays for the Saints, and he's a backup guard. Only to find out that he's from Georgia. He's from Riverdale, right where I live. He went to Riverdale High School, and he played for Hampton. So, it's funny how HBCUs keep funneling back into these very spots every single time.
Exactly. And we're almost just out of time. So, Kels, go ahead and close us out.
Okay, well, I will be here on Friday and Saturday. We will kick off on Friday. There is an event for Celebration Bowl. Saturday is the day, December 15th, Celebration Bowl, which is also my 38th birthday. So I'm going to spend my birthday covering Celebration Bowl. It's going to be a very exciting time. We are doing a tailgate. I am anticipating Alcorn coming. I'm anticipating all the people that are traveling from Mississippi, and I'm trying to get as many of them as possible to make sure they get food and come to the tailgate. But we will. I will probably head out. I'm saying 6 o'clock, but I probably will be live on location. I probably will be in the area about 6 o'clock in the morning. So Celebration Bowl, we are ready.
All right. Well, that's the end of our show, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to check with us next week as we have Tulu College basketball head coach Thomas Billups. We're going to be recapping the winner of the Celebration Bowl and celebrating a Black college national champion. Have a good night and peace out, everybody.
Good night.
Three, 4.